Okay. All right. So I can't see the meeting channel right now while I'm reading this, but I'll switch back to it in just a second here. Basically, these are just notes that I wanted to bring up to everyone before we get started, so that at least you know these things ahead of time. And if one of these things were something you wanted to say or do, then now you know. That way we can save some time. The first item is skill tiers can be changed. What that means is, if you think a tier 2 skill should be a tier 3, I can do that. It's not hard to do. Um, we do not get to pick which column a skill falls into on that tier. As you guys probably have seen, some of the skills could be lined up a little better, the similar ones being above each other in the tiers, but we don't have any control of that. All we can do is just pick what tier they're in. It organizes them, I'm assuming, alphabetically or something. I don't really know. The user interface itself cannot be changed. We've had people ask, can you do this? Can you rearrange this? Can you change that to that? No, we can't mess with the UI. There's nothing we can do about the UI. It stays the way it is. Some skill increments cannot be changed. I've seen players discussing, well, maybe if there were, less skills you spend for this skill and it just gave a bigger bonus per skill point used and blah, blah, blah. That's fine for some skills, but some skill increments cannot be changed. A good example would be the Z level type skills, mining, harvest, or mining, wood cutting, skinning, that kind of stuff. Those cannot and will not be changed as far as the increments. And what I mean by increments, again, is how many points you spend, on each skill and how much of a bonus you get per point spent, that kind of stuff. Those just cannot be changed. They're set in stone because of the end game goals. The calculations used to get to that end game goal and how much we want players and how fast we want players to be able to obtain those goals, blah, blah, blah. It was all synced up perfectly with our Z level system so that you guys can still obtain, at least the goals are set so that you guys can still reach the same things you reached back on the old system. We're trying to keep that as even as we can with Z levels, but at the same time, we have a certain amount of skill points we need you to spend on those things to help slow that progress down so you don't zoom right past the Z level equivalent from the old system. Those are not going to get changed, period. Again, just because there's so much math and calculating involved. If you're like, hey T, could you drop the tier 1 mining one maybe down just 10 less skill points and increase the yield by 0.1%, that would literally throw off all the numbers down the chain and would screw up the entire system. So those are not going to be changed. So if that's your suggestion, just hold on to it because it ain't happening. The next note, new skills can be added, but we are within limitations of what Rust and what plugins can do. I do have a master list of all abilities that are already built in. In other words, all things that are already possible. I'll gladly share that with you guys during this. I'll probably post it to the meeting channel in a little bit. But if it's outside of that list that I'm going to provide to you, then it is physically not possible at the moment. If it is something that you already know is physically possible in Rust, either by vanilla Rust or admin commands, and what I mean by that is, like, believe it or not, a personal heli that comes and attacks you, the attack chopper that you spawn that purposely comes straight for you, that's actually vanilla Rust. Believe it or not, there's actually an admin command built into vanilla Rust that makes a helicopter do that. So that's what I mean by if it's not part of vanilla Rust or an admin command, or a current plugin that we already run. So remember those three things. If you have a suggestion for a new skill, it either needs to be part of that list I'm going to show you guys later. I guess this will be 4 things. It needs to be part of that list I'm going to show you. It needs to either be something Rust itself can already do for a fact, this for a fact, or an admin command can already do, this for a fact, or a plugin that we currently run can already do also. In other words, we might be able to figure out a way to tie in, a skill. We could have like a tier 3 vehicle skill, like, you put a skill point into this, you now have a minicopter license type thing, something like that. Like, again, I'm not saying we can do that. I'm just saying that would qualify for what I'm telling you are your restrictions, in that you already know we have a vehicle plugin that you can get a vehicle license for a minicopter with. So, maybe it's possible. So that kind of stuff. Just keep it within those guidelines if you're suggesting new skills. Yes, in the future, we may have Nivix reprogram some stuff and come up with all kinds of new skills. Not to get into his personal life, he is having very serious real life issues right now. let's just say that our communications for the last week have literally been me checking on him every morning. He's got some real life stuff going on. He's just not. Things aren't working out too well right now as far as being able to get any work done with Nivix. Again, I don't want to get into his personal life, but let's just say he's out of commission for a little while. Yes, he's fine. Yes, he'll be fine. Don't worry. But as far as plugin development goes, I not only are we not going to be seeing much from him in the next couple of weeks, but honestly, I don't even want to ask because of what's going on right now. That's kind of, he sat on my couch and he slept in my house type thing, and that's my friend, and that's kind of shallow of me to like, hey, how you doing? By the way, can you do some work for me? That's just fucked up. So that stuff's just off the table for right now. So again, if it doesn't fall within those guidelines I just set forth, don't suggest it because it's not going to be happening anytime soon. I lost my place there. Let's see. New skills not part of that list can be discussed, but okay, yeah, that's part I just said. Okay. Not all skills cater to your play style or desires. This is on purpose. We have thousands of people to please, not just one. If you're a heavy miner or heavy woodcutter, cool, you got some skills catering to your play style. But what about someone else? They like to scavenge the road for barrels, and I've seen Drac play entire wipes where all he does was just pick up stuff. No harvesting nodes, no harvesting trees. It's just different people like to play different ways. Sometimes people like to play different ways just to challenge themselves. So you got to remember, we're not catering this just to your play style. We have to cater things to everyone's play style and still keep it balanced at the same time. Not an easy task. Next note. Definition time. Nerf is something working exactly as configured as I configured it to work, but I'm not happy with the configuration and need to turn it down some. That's what the definition of a nerf is. Nerf means it was working as intended. I meant for it to be that way in the first place, but after reviewing it, I've discovered that it's not quite right and it needs to be turned down some. That's what a nerf is. Everybody got that? Good. A bug, something that is not working as intended, was never meant to work that way, or could not even be known to us that it was working that way, but was never meant to be, or just something not working at all. So everybody understand, hopefully, the definition of a bug and a nerf. I don't care what your definition is from another game or another server, but those are our definitions here. Nerf was working as intended, but needs to be toned down. Bug is not working as intended or is working in a way that we didn't know it was working, that was never intended, and needs to be fixed. Let's see. Some things are going to have to be nerfed at some point. Just make sure you guys understand that. Things will get nerfed. That's just the way it is. On the converse side, some things will get buffs to make them more desirable or whatever, or they're not working as intended. I can actually, honestly, after reviewing the data before this meeting, I can tell you of a couple buffs you guys are going to be really excited about, but we'll get into this more later. I'm honestly kind of getting my ass really chapped about the amount of buffs and things we try to do on a positive side that get ignored compared to the fractional amount of negative things we do. I know you guys have heard me bitch about this until my face turns blue. Oh, look, Steam Tuesday. Wookie, you guys seeing this on Battlemetrics? Steam's going down. And give me a second. Let me remind the players about this. Can one of you type that in general, reminder about Steam Tuesday?
I said it on both servers.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt the meeting, but I got to do this every damn Tuesday. Anyway, the point being is, I know you guys have heard me bitch about this constantly, but you got to meet me in the middle. Like, it's anybody. Well, you guys can't reply to me because we're in a stage channel, but is anybody married? You've been married for a long time, and sometimes you think to yourself, man, my spouse only points out when I do something wrong. They never point out the 50 other nice things I do. It's kind of that situation. I'm not complaining personally. My wife is great, but I do have an ex. It's like, I feel like we do so many positive things and provide so many cool extra new things, and all players bitch about is a couple of nerfs. And it's like, well, what about the 70 other nice things? So please keep that in mind in tonight's meeting. I almost just canceled this entire meeting because I'm so sick of hearing it. So just keep that in mind. I'm a human being. I do have feelings and emotions too. Don't forget. Some things are going. Oh, I already said that one. Sorry. Players exploiting things or trying to maximize their XP per hour are only harming themselves and the player base, because that skews the numbers on the higher side of things, which would then tell us that we need to nerf them a bit, because we can only see the data. So not the tricks. Oh, we can only see the data, not the tricks or the exploits used to create that data. So in our minds, it looks too easy, which causes nerfs. So again, this goes back really earlier in the wipe. It's not, I haven't seen so much of an issue right now, but just remember that those of you who are purposely trying to find every little exploit you can find to get as much experience as you can, as fast as you can, like, hey, I beat on a tree with a rock for 7 hours and got 10 times more experience per hour than the rest of you. Okay, well, then at the end of the month, when I look at the experience per hour data and I say, holy shit, they're leveling much faster than they should be, I need to tone this down a little bit. You just fucked yourself and the whole server by doing that. So that would probably be a really dumb thing to do. Just putting that out there. And the last note, play normal. We've told you guys since day one, our goal is to make this more powerful for the average casual player than Z levels ever were for the top players. If you keep trying to overachieve, just like I just said a second ago, if you keep trying to overachieve, then the data will tell us that you're reaching those goals we set way too quickly, and we'll end up toning them down. So again, you're only screwing yourself by purposely trying to maximize your XP per hour. That's not what this is here for. Just play the game. Don't worry. We're studying the data. We do have goals. We plan on meeting those goals. And if we're not meeting those goals, we plan on turning things up and buffing them for you. So purposely trying to maximize, you're actually going to cause us to nerf instead of buff, which then would make you all mad. So let's not do that, okay? All right. Let me see. Sorry, I'm reading some other admin notes under my notes. Make sure, see if I need to touch on these real quick. Wookie, I'm going to touch on yours physically, like with an example, so I won't do that one yet. Nola, are you in here? Are you home from work yet? I don't think he's in here yet. I guess not.
He was on mobile last I knew.
Yeah.
I'm here.
He's on the way home from work. He DM'd me and said he'll be here soon. I just didn't know if he made it in yet. His note, I having trouble understanding exactly, but it's just like he basically requesting you guys to just chill with the toxicity and the bitching. We appreciate the support. I hear you trying to talk, Nola, but your car sounds like shit when you're talking on there. We appreciate the support, but please help us to de-escalate rather than jump on someone having a bad time. So what he's basically saying is, when the very, very, very tiny minority of players are bitching about this or that with skills or whatever else, and I definitely would underline the we do appreciate the support part. I might touch on that a little more here, but don't jump on the person. Yeah, I know you see that it's irritating me and it's pissing me off and it's irritating the rest of the staff, and you're just trying to help and defend us, but it's just making it worse when everybody jumps on somebody because they're bitching about skills, and yeah, they're usually wrong what they're bitching about, but just let it go. We don't need a lynch mob. On the converse side of that, holy shit, man, I love our community. Like, I know I say this in the server meetings all the time, but I mean, 99% of you guys offer us full support, even when we have to nerf shit, which we hate doing. We know what's going to come when we nerf stuff. We know damn well we're going to have to hear it, for weeks and weeks, and we lose sleep over it. So trust me, we don't do it just for nothing. But the fact that 99% of you guys support us so well and are so eager to just jump up to our defense all the time, I just freaking love it. I know the person, being jumped on probably thinks, oh, you're just kissing admin ass, but you guys know us, man. We don't give preferential treatment around here. You don't have to kiss our ass. Just be a good player, and that's all you need. Like, I mean, I've unbanned people for saying the N-word before, just for being a decent person later on. So we just really appreciate you guys always sticking up for us like that. But again, please don't jump on people in open chat like that. Hell, if you want to, just DM one of us and just laugh about it. Be like, man, that guy's an ass. We'll have a chuckle back with you. Okay, so let's get to the meeting. Switch over Discords here so I can look at the meeting channel. You guys are probably typing in. Yes, you are. All right. I haven't read anything up to this point except T-Bird drinks pee. So if I miss anything, you're just going to bring it back up to me again later. I don't really have any outline or layout of how I'm doing this meeting. What I will do is I'm going to tell you a little bit of the data right now. If I need to provide you with screenshots of my spreadsheets, I can. I honestly, I'm getting pretty irritated with the fact that people keep trying to tell me I'm wrong with the data when I I hate to sound cocky, but I'm specifically not wrong with the data. Every single day, I pull all the files off the server for this plugin. I pull playtime files and I pull skills files. And I actually have queries in my Excel spreadsheet that whatever the hell what's the word for that, Wookie, when it pulls the data into the spreadsheet? I don't know. Parses the data. Would that be the word, I guess? Okay. My query parses the data into my spreadsheet. So it's live. When I hit, refresh data in Excel, boom, it's live for whatever the current is on the server. It's got your play times, it's got your skill stuff, it's got everything in there. I will say one thing is wrong in my data, but it's not important, is I think it was Grisato or somebody pointed this out to me, is the skills, like how many people have taken which skill. That is wrong right now. I'm gonna explain why it's wrong. That is wrong right now, and I think it was him that pointed it out. He's like, "Oh, that's not right," because I know my buddy has extra pockets, and I see it says 0 or some shit like that. He's right. It is wrong, and the reason it's wrong is because the way this guy has the skills plugin saving to your data file, it actually doesn't even list a skill until you've put points into it. So when I first made the spreadsheet, obviously everybody didn't have points in everything yet. So the query didn't pick up those things. I've started remaking the spreadsheet now that everybody has skills in everything at least, but there's still a couple things that people haven't even picked yet. So those aren't being included. And then those not being included has thrown off the rows. It counts by row. It threw off the rows so that when it's trying to tabulate how many people have what skill, the spreadsheet didn't realize it was skipping a skill because no one had picked it yet. So now the next skill that it tabulates the numbers for is wrong because it thinks it's a different skill. Anyway, long story short, it's a lot of manual work. I'm not done with that yet. So just know for right now, the data as far as who's picked what skill is not correct. Percentage wise, it's pretty correct because it is counting the ones that people have already picked at least. So that's a plus. I mean, we can still tell, most people are picking mining and woodcutting and shit like that. But as far as the data itself, yes, that data is wrong until I manually go in there and add each one. So for now, we just won't even be bothering to discuss that data. But everything else on there is perfectly accurate. There is no question about it. Again, this is hard data directly from the server files. There is no question. All of this has been tested, tried, and true. If someone wants to argue with me, well, I get more by hitting with a stone than I would. I'm sorry, but I have the data. You don't, and you're wrong. Again, I hate to sound like a cocky asshole, but it is what it is, man. Data's data. I work in math for a living. Math is a religion. It's just that's my shit, and I'm telling you, the math is right. So, with that said, no pizza. I guess what we can start with is maybe, and I'm talking to the admins right now. Maybe do like we do with our Q&A section where we let people just request to talk, and then we let that person, if they got a question, if they got a suggestion, we hear it out, blah blah blah. And what I'm thinking is, instead of me trying to figure out what everybody wants to talk about, we do it that way first, and that will spark new topics and new ideas in my head to bring up and talk about. I mean, does that sound like a ideal way to do this, or you got a better idea? Or I don't really know.
It's like our normal meeting, I would assume at that point.
Yeah, it just be backwards. The Q&A will be first. I will tell you guys real quick before I start that. And even my admins don't know this yet. Give me 1 second, I'm pulling up my spreadsheet here. So where we're at right now, I have 2 different charts on this spreadsheet. I'm tracking. The only chart I pay attention to is one called General Statistics, No Donations. Because I'm not, my goals I set forth for you guys to reach by the end of the wipe, which, if you remember correctly, was obtaining level 137, which is the Z level. For those who don't remember, the highest Z level anyone has ever obtained without donating. Remember, the key to this is without donating, because we try to provide people with stuff here that they don't have to spend money on. They can just play. So the highest Z level ever obtained without donating is 60. The equivalent to that in this plugin, if you spent every single skill point on, that Z level, the equivalent to that in this plugin would be level 137. I already went over all that data back at the original server meeting for these, so I'm not going to go over all that again. Just trust me on that. If you hit level 137 and you spend every single point you can on the Z level type skill, you will have achieved the exact same yield bonus that the highest Z level has ever achieved in our server history, again, without donations. So the goal I set forth is for you to obtain that goal of level 137 by the end of a force wipe. That's our hard set in stone goal. Level 137 by the end of the force wipe, which would allow you to have higher Z levels than anyone has ever obtained in our server history. Again, all of that is without donation. The Z level side of that and the hitting 137 side of that. Yes, but again, that's just the average player. Now, well, let me get to the next part of that statement, Pooh Water. Don't make me flush you. The next side of that statement is during playtesting, our players were averaging, and this is average. This is all the way from Hawk all the way up to Melgrath. Our players were averaging 37K per hour. So when we set that goal, so what we did, we reverse engineered. We said, okay, if they're hitting 37K per hour, how many hours would it take, or how far would they get in the whole force wipe type thing? So we reverse engineered the experience ladder. And for those who don't know, the experience ladder is just how much it takes per level all the way down. It obviously exponentially increases as you get higher level. So we reverse engineered that end goal of level 137 based off of the average experience per hour during 2 months of playtesting. That was the admin month and then the player month. And that's how we came up with the numbers we're at right now on how much it takes per level to level. So with that said, this is what's really odd to me, is because during the playtesting, we didn't have quests, we didn't have voting for experience points. And again, when I say average, I mean this includes some very low experience per hour playtesters and some very high ones. But even with that said, and even though you guys have more ways to gain experience now, your XP per hour that I've seen so far across both servers has been a lot lower than that 37K per hour. So the good news is, unless something major changes in the next 10 days or whatever, that is going to lead me to provide a massive buff to how quickly you guys level. So that's the good news. The funny thing is, by the end of this meeting, you'll forget I said that, and somebody will find something to bitch about that's so minor and obsolete, it's pointless. So, again, judging by the numbers, I know I just said this, I'm going to repeat it. Judging by the numbers I'm looking at, we're probably going to have to provide a pretty significant buff to how fast you guys level. Right now, and even worse, is honestly, I broke it down to this point. I'm not going to be shady. You guys know me. I'm transparent. So I'm going to tell you straight up. I broke it down even further, hoping fuck that. I'm not buffing this. I literally broke it down, hoping I could prove that wrong and not have to buff how fast you level. It still didn't work. I'm still probably going to have to buff it, because what I did was I actually eliminated the top 30% outliers and the bottom 30% outliers. So just judging on the middle 40% of players, you're still going to need a pretty significant buff to how fast you level. And then I went a step further. Then I told my query to ignore all players under level 5 and all players that have less than 2 hours of playtime. I told it to ignore both of those things, and it still looks like we're going to have to provide a pretty good buff to how fast you level. So I tried my best to not have to buff it, but it looks like we might have to. If you guys are interested, I can call those numbers out or even show them to you right now. But here's where we're at. Again, this is without donations. Obviously, with donations, some people have more skill points and more experience and stuff. So the funny thing is, main 2 is blowing main 1 out of the water in literally every single category except the bottom 30% outliers. The highest level, main 2 has that trophy. Top experience, main 2 has that trophy also. I can tell you these numbers, by the way. So again, this is without donations. So I don't tell me, well, I know so-and-so has. Again, this is without donations. Main 1 top level is 128. Main 2 is 141. So main 2 has that one beat. Top experience, main 1 4.4 million. Main 2 5.3 million. Hold on, I need to check this DM. Okay. Skill points. Main 2 has that one beat also. Top time played. This is actually, there's only 2 stats that main 2 is not winning. This is one. Main 1 has total time, or top play time is 212 hours. Main 2, the top play time is 185 hours. top statistics, main 1, top experience per hour is 42K per hour. Main 2, the top XP per hour is 52K per hour. Now we got averages. Average level, main 1, 21, main 2, 25. Average XP, main 1, 210K, main 2, 290K. Average skill points, main 1, 24, main 2, 28. Average playtime, main 1, 9 hours, main 2, 14 hours. Average XP per hour, main 1, 11K, main 2, 12K. Outliers. This is experience per hour. These are the outliers. The top 30% outliers on main 1 average out to 17K per hour. Main 2, 18K per hour. The bottom 30% outlier, main 1, 6K per hour. Main 2, 6K per hour. Is a hair more, but still 6K per hour. And then the outliers for the middle 40%. And this is where it gets scary. This is where I said I'm going to have to buff. You guys are almost neck and neck tied. There's only, this is XP per hour for the middle 40%. 10K and 10K. Main 2 is literally 5 experience points more per hour. So they're pretty much tied. So that, and them being so closely tied lets me know that these statistics are pretty real, because I mean, it's fucking spot on, man. 5 experience per hour difference between main 1 and main 2. So honestly, all the stats are really close neck and neck. So, but what I just said, you know, it's about 10.5K per hour. I was expecting you guys to come in around 30K. Now we do have people, you know, 50 plus K per hour, but it's not good enough. So yeah, I predicted about 30K. So we're definitely gonna have to buff this shit up. And Socobra, if you even try this stupid ass tree farming shit in this meeting, I will actually ban you from my Discord. I'm not being funny. I'm not typing smiley faces. I'm dead ass serious. Okay. The next outliers. These are average levels. Top 30%, main 1, 43, main 2, 52. Bottom 30%, these are levels 7 and 7. And the middle 40% of average level is 16, and then main 2, 21. And then let's see, outliers for play. I know some of these stats are pointless to you guys, but it's interesting. Outliers for playtime. The top 30% of playtime on main 1 is 56 hours, main 2, 66 hours. The bottom 30% of playtime, main 1 is 7 hours, main 2, 8 hours. And the middle 40% of average playtime is 14 and 18. And then last but not least, player-wise, and again, this is excluding anyone under level 5 and anyone under 2 hours of playtime. Total players, main 1, almost 1,100. Main 2, 624. Total play hours, again, just interesting to the statistics. Total play hours, main 1, 19,152. And main 2, 14,193. And again, that's skipping a lot of people, you know, that just log in for a minute and leave. Another interesting thing, total AFK hours. Main 1, 4,820. Main 2, 3,648. Time percentage active. In other words, how much time you spent online, how much of it was active and not AFK. Both servers are tied at 80%. So that's the general statistics for both servers, excluding donations and excluding those under level 5 and under 2 hours. I have a couple other global type statistics. Average XP, this is total for both servers, just total. Average XP per hour is around 11,591. That needs to come up a lot. Max XP per hour is 51,632. Minimum XP per hour is 2,522. We've had 461 hours this wipe so far. There's 380 hours left. That means we are at 55% progress through this wipe. And when I say wipe, I mean force wipe. Average playtime for everybody is 22 hours. Percentage of active hours, 4.88%. In other words, how many hours into the wipe are we? How many hours do people average they play? So you guys play an average of 4.88% of the time. And I mean real world time. You know, obviously you have to sleep and work and shit and all that stuff. Using those numbers, I've done estimates. Average end wipe hours would be 41. Average end of wipe experience would be 475,000. Average end of wipe level 42, and that makes me frown, and we need to work on that. Top end wipe hours. Now, when I say top end, it's basically taking the top 30% of players and then using those I cannot say that fucking word. Using those same statistics to calculate, hey, we're this far into the wipe. They average 4.88% of the time into the wipe playing. It basically does the math. And this is for the top 30% of the players. The top 30% of players, their expected end of wipe hours will be 387 hours. Their expected end of wipe experience will be 6.6 million. Their expected end of wipe level will be 157. So the top 30% are absolutely hitting my goal and exceeding my goal. But I made a promise to you guys that I wanted the average player to be able to achieve that goal. So I've got work to do. No question about that. Give me 1 second. My wife texts me. Okay. Sorry, we're having a rough day here. My HVAC is fucked up, and I'm in a 3-year-old house. Woohoo! Love spending $3,000 on a new HVAC system in a new house. Anyway, and my wife's freaking out because maxing our credit cards and shit. So she's all like, "What are we gonna do?" Like, I don't know. Just if I can get the AC fixed. What do you want? Okay, moving along. Make sure I didn't miss any important stat here. Okay, cool. So all stats have been announced. There you go. I can provide them via screenshot if you'd like. But matter of fact, let me just go ahead and put that in the channel right now. How about that? Again, this is without donation. There's those stats. And there's the other stats I was just reading at the end there. Okay. So I guess, yeah, we don't have Mac here. So who wants to be our little opening up the floor to players person or whatever? Any admin want to do that? Yeah?
I already have the floor set up.
Oh, you want to do it? Okay. So just like in our server meetings, this is where I have Notepad open over here. I'm going to be taking notes. This is where we do suggestions. This is where we do feedback. This is where we do criticisms. I'm gonna let you know if it's beating on a dead horse. I don't want to hear it. My AC is out of my brand new house. I'm not in a very good mood, so just keep that in mind. I did read you some guidelines at the start of this meeting. Please remember those. Matter of fact, I can copy and paste those into this channel too if I need to. So just like in the meetings, though, click the little raise your hand button or whatever that is in the stage channel, and Cryo will give you the perms to talk, and we'll do our thing and move on to the next. Let's also try to keep it brief. I'm sure people got a lot to discuss, so let's get through it. Yeah. Yeah, if you're coming to this meeting to bitch that we literally gave you 1,000% income pay raise for your RP, but charged you a little more for a nightmare rate, I don't want to hear it. So save that for something else. You can honestly just throw that in the trash cans. I don't want to hear it, period.
All right, first up we have North.
Oh, he's typing it. Okay. I had heard talk of how bone clubs were utilized to game the XP per hour. I was wondering if the gathering from Salvage Hammer has been looked at comparatively as well. Just something that crossed my mind. Didn't I add Salvage Hammer to the ignore list?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So all I did was when these idiotic players that were trying to destroy the statistics and make us nerf everything, we're trying to game the system with a bone club. I put there's an exclusion list in the config that lets me exclude certain things from providing experience and stuff. I just put the bone club on there, and then when they tried to checkmate me and do it with something else, I just put that on there too. So yeah, neither one of those things give you any experience. This is why we can't have nice things. So Cobra, you're absolutely wrong, because guess what? This game isn't about gaining experience. So if you sit there and beat on a fucking tree for 3 hours with a bone club trying to get as much experience as you can, you're also not accomplishing anything else. You gotta think. I know you're a kid, so I tell this to my 16-year-old all the time. You gotta look at the bigger picture, man. Look at the bigger picture. Yes, beating on a tree with a bone club for 5 hours will get you more experience than if you didn't do it. But you're also not getting shit for resources. You're not getting any nodes. You're not getting any kills. You're not getting any loot. You're not getting shit. You're not progressing in the game at all. This is a game. This isn't a how much experience can I get game. This is a game where you have many different things to accomplish. You're not accomplishing anything by exploiting a bone club to hit a tree for hours and hours and hours to get as much experience as you can. So you're actually wrong. Completely wrong. Moving on.
Okay, next up we have Melgrath.
All right, you guys able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
I'll try to go quick, so I'm just gonna drop a couple things in the channel just so they're there, and I'll try to go through them fast because I gotta bail. First item, it's some of these items are related to XP, so I hope that's game. But so the first item here was around voting system rewards, specifically the slow ramp up from day 1 where you get like 100 XP. So by the time you get to like day 23, 24, stuff like that, hey, it's awesome XP, it's 20, 30, 40K. But early on it just feels bad. So
Yeah,
I'm
gonna stop you real quick because I think you already discussed this with me. First of all, for anyone that doesn't know, Melgrath has literally been the most stellar tester and feedback provider for this plugin since we started the plugin. Literally the best. Every bit of feedback he gives has been well written, well documented. He doesn't bitch, and when he does, he provides ideas and solutions to fix what he's bitching about. This is one of them, and I don't remember if I told you or not, but absolutely, I'm going to fix that and change that and increase that. A suggestion approved. Go ahead and move on to the next one.
Oh yeah, no problem, man. And I know some of these you're aware of. So again, I'm just if there is discussion on it, I just wanted to bring it up.
No, I mean,
Next
I
one
told
was-
you to anyway, so I could write it down at the meeting, so that's fine.
Cool. And next one was around durability tier adjustment. This is mostly just gathering some feedback from last wipe, where a lot of the feedback is that the 10 points was a lot, and it being in tier 3. So the question as to whether or not it could move to like a tier 2 and be 10, or tier 2 and 5 points, especially with possibly needing both wood tools and metal and mining tools. So just lobbing that one out there as well.
Hold on, I'm writing, by the way.
And like I said, if you want me to, I can, repaste or whatever as well.
No, I'm good. Let me.
So that one's pretty quick, pretty self-explanatory. But yeah, I just know that even me, like when I was going down the mining tree and snagged it, like it did feel a little heavy this time around.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I like that one too. I'm not going to rule that
out. So next one. This one took some time to think about. There was a lot of complaints around Thrifty Tinker and not doing boom and stuff like that. So I tried to put together a suggestion with moving Blast Furnace and Thrifty Tinker around a bit. So swapping Blast Furnace into 2 and Thrifty Tinker into 3, and then doing a smaller percentage per point. Again, I don't know what the limitations are on that, but cap it out at some amount that would then allow for GP, explosive, sulfur, something along those lines to be entered back into the equation, such that maybe it provides a business opportunity. Hey, I'll craft your boom for you because I'm deep in crafting and it's instant for me and I get 5%. So by me crafting your 100 rockets, I get 5 free rockets, or whatever the case may be. So that's just kind of the way that I approach that one.
That I'm going to have to think on. If I can tell you right now, if we were to, because it's a hard no on allowing GP explosives or sulfur to be refunded on crafting. If we were to allow that, it would be a massive change into how difficult it is to really get that skill going. You know what I'm saying? Like I would have to increase how many points you got to put into it to even get to that level. How much, I'd have to decrease how much per point, bonus you're getting for that, blah, blah, blah. It would have to be a massive nerf on the skill side if we were going to allow GP explosives and sulfur to be refunded on craft. I can tell you that part right now. I'm not close to discussing that, but I'm just saying it's going to have to be a give take on that one because that's huge. Let me hit each one of those real quick if people will quit typing so much. because I'm actually staring at this as I'm reading it. The blast furnace. Let me type these down. Blast furnace into tier 2. I will look at that for sure. I'm not. So basically, everything I'm doing tonight is either going to be a yes, I'll look at it, or a no. So I'm gonna look at the blast furnace into tier 2. Let me write that down.
And again, the reason for that is that with the buff to Thrifty Tinker allowing things like GP explosives, that was why I was looking at moving it to tier 3, was so that you had to invest harder in the crafting tree before you could even unlock it. And so that if you're not looking at the GP explosive sulfur angle, then I'd probably just leave it as is.
Yeah. The sorry, my push to talk scrolls my screen if I'm clicked on the wrong screen. So again, because that's a multi-part suggestion there. The problem is that one of the issues I have is I wish the plugin wasn't like this. I wish you actually had to like unlock a tree a certain amount for something above it type thing. That would be really cool and would offer me a lot more tweaking, I guess you could say, to like really force players to have to unlock something a hard way. But as it stands right now, you could technically put 25 points into some tier 1 skill, and then boom, you can now do any of the tier 3 skills, which is kind of fucked up. Which makes it harder to do these intricate little balancing acts that we're trying to do here. Yeah, I'll look at this one and discuss it further. I can just tell you right now that very last line, allow GP explosive sulfur, is going to require a massive amount of nerfs on the other stuff, because that's huge.
Okay, and like I said, a lot of this is just bringing them up for discussion and for thinking about, not anything you got to do right this moment.
Yeah. Let me read this last part here. Also with a 5% proc chance to most of 5. Oh, okay, that's still part of that. Okay.
Yeah, and that's why, again, it all is related. So if the Explo GP, then you could probably just discard that item.
Got it.
So next one, I know you and I had talked a brief bit about this, was allowing skill points outside of rating completion quests. So some of the ones that I looked at was Fred Flintstone, Paul Bunyan, and HQM's Girl's Best Friend. But Paul Bunyan, I mean, let's be honest, Paul Bunyan's freaking easy as hell. So if that one had to bump up in its requirements in order to enable a skill point, I feel like that's a fair trade. Fred Flintstone, probably okay at 350.
Hey,
but
do me a favor, remind me, other than quest names, I actually did not make any of our quests. So when you say Paul Bunyan, I have no clue what you're talking about.
Sorry, Paul Bunyan is go cut 350k worth of wood. Fred Flintstone is 350k worth of stone. HQM is a girl's best friend is 750 HQM. Of those, HQM is a girl's best friend is plenty hard. Today it's actually a pain in the ass to complete.
Let me pause you real quick. It's not supposed to, and we didn't get enough time to test the fix because it was an emergency fix at the end. Does your yield bonus count towards the quests?
It does not appear to.
No, it doesn't at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because HQM was, like I said, a massive pain in the ass because you only get like 1 or 2 per node, and so it's like 375 metal nodes you got to go for.
Okay, so basically those big quests, from what I remember from Eliana, are really supposed to be like a once per wipe type quest, which is fine. And
Bingo.
that's cool. So
and I've got the note at the bottom that assumes once per wipe.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm absolutely for increasing and throwing some skill points in quests. The only thing you have to remember with my balancing is all the other balancing I'm doing is not taking into account any extra skill points anywhere. So when I say I want you to have 137 skill points by the end of the wipe to be on par with my goal, that doesn't count any voting ones, any quest ones, anything. That's just judging you basically on how many levels and how many skill points you've gotten. So the more we keep adding skill points to other things, the less we're going to be able to buff up the whole, hey, get their experience per hour up to the level that we thought we should have it at. That's going to make that buff a little lower, because ultimately, if I'm trying to get you to have 137 skill points by the end of wipe, if you're getting 30 of them off of quests and voting, then I'm technically only really trying to get you to 107, per my charts type. So does that make sense? Like,
yeah, no, and I got you. And that actually feeds into another item that's super quick. I actually got this from another player because I had a couple players that reached out with some stuff. One of the items they were concerned with was the number of skill points awarded, and please, server community, don't kill me. But they were concerned with the number of skill points awarded for expert and nightmare raid quests, specifically because of the repeatable nature. Because you're able to complete expert raid quest twice and nightmare raid quest twice in a given wipe, it's the potential for 30 skill points if you complete 2 experts and 2 nightmares in a raid or in a wipe. So going back to your point about awarding those, it may be that those just need to be one-time completions, or the SP potentially reduced. So that one was brought up.
So I was under the assumption that those quests were one-time completions for a wipe. So
I just logged in.
At once?
I just logged in and double checked, and expert I think was 7 days, and nightmare was 10 days.
Okay, yeah. So we may increase the duration on that then.
So
I don't want to lower the reward because I'm already getting screamed at enough, for increasing the reward tenfold on nightmares, and then they're screaming at me for that. So lowering it,
and like I said, mostly just pitching that in the current state, it does reward a lot of SP, especially compared to other opportunities.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
I'm not gonna. You're aware of the item I put in with trying to get stuff out of the economy ahead of wipe. I think you've addressed that with the /S, so I'm not gonna post those quests because you've already seen them. That was the like bye Bradley, turn in 200 HV rockets for some XP reward or something like that. It catered more towards trying to get resources out of the economy for XP instead of RP.
Yeah, actually, I'm still highly for that.
Do you want me to drop it in?
I'm actually higher for players being able to turn in resources and even craftable stuff for XP or even skill points. I'm actually more for that than I am for buffing how much RP those things are worth.
Cool. Then, yeah, because like I said, I mean, there's stuff in here like Saint Javelin, turn in 100 rockets for 25,000 XP or something like that. So if you're not a raider, you're not a PvP, or you don't want to be on for Purge Day, go turn your shit into Igor at the quest hut and get yourself some XP.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be totally transparent with all of you here. Really transparent. I don't even think I've said this to my admins before. Anything that disappears, I am highly more susceptible to taking suggestions for buffs for. Anything that's permanent, basically RP, the only thing that's permanent. Anything that's permanent, I'm much more reserved on taking buffs and ideas for. So the reason I'm so for that idea of yours is because experience wipes. If that was, a converse of, hey, you should double the RP, even though you just did, 10 times more than that, you should do it again. If that was your suggestion, I'd say no, hard no, because it never wipes. And that's our big issue right now is the fact that it's never wiped and all these people are so filthy rich and it's throwing the economy off and making things impossible for lower level players now because we have to make things expensive for the higher level play. You get what I'm saying? Anything that wipes like experience and skill points, as long as it doesn't completely destroy our end goal, I'm all for buffing those kind of things and providing more outlets for players. Especially with things you said like rockets and C4 and stuff like that. That's cool as shit because it gives people more reasons to try to craft those things or get those things that don't raid, and it gives them something to do with them, and it gives them a chance. Let's face it, the people who don't raid are probably not leveling as fast as those who do. So that's awesome. I love that idea.
So next one, again, another one you've seen, was it's kind of stuff not aimed at getting like big items out, but smaller increments that are designed around repeatables for people that aren't interested in killing scientists or farming monuments or farming raids, shit like that. And some of them even rewarding SP. So like the Skittles quest that's in there. So if you can farm up 250 red, blue, white, yellow, green berries, great, cool. You can do that, and either it's repeatable or it's not. You can adjust that type of stuff. But providing some sort of mechanic for additional sell opportunities for players such that they could set up better vending machines to cater towards those quests. Or for those that want to farm, that want to go run around and pick mushrooms and kill bears, great, cool, you got an avenue for it. And then the bones is purely, and I hope people get the reference to Mr. Bones Wild Ride. I hope I'm not that old that people don't remember that game. But just to get that shit out of my TC every way.
So, three things: good, bad, and good. The good is all you people listening right now to this guy, like I had to deal with this for a month from him during testing. Is he not fucking legit? Like this dude is fucking legit as can be as a tester. I literally dealt with this for a full month from him, and it was amazing. A lot of the suggestions you guys are playing with right now came from his mouth. So give him some props. Dude kicks ass. The negative, anything that has to do with farming, I am definitely not going to provide any kind of promotion for, because all that's going to do is make more. What was that? Cryo, you remember what was that farm that we had to fucking get on somebody for a couple days ago? What was like 160 farm plots or some shit?
151.
151 farm plot base. So anything that has to do with farms, means I'm going to have 151 farm plot bases with 17 windmills on top of it, and I'm literally going to throw my computer out of the fucking window of my house. Like So anything to do with farming, absolutely not. My mother could come slap me and tell me to do it, I wouldn't do it. The other suggestions on there, though, honestly, I think I want to do an entire revamp of literally. I mean, I could picture dozens of turn-in quests. I honestly, not having worked on the quests other than quickly adding skill points to some of them, not having worked on the quests, it totally slipped my mind that we can really do turn-in quests where, again, I didn't want to reward people just for getting stuff because, they're already getting the stuff anyway. Then they could sell it for RP. Then they could turn, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just too much. But the fact that we can turn stuff in, meaning they lose it from their inventory, but get the reward in return, I'm all about that shit. Dude, I mean, I can probably think of a couple dozen of those we can do. So absolutely great suggestion. And I think I may expand it even more than you've done. So I like that.
Awesome. Cool. And then last one here. This was one that again was received player feedback. Was increased heli XP, heli crate XP due to the cooldown on summoning and the difficulty in locking and taking down the public one. And I felt like that was a reasonable ask. And if I remember the configs right, there's a separate item for RP or for heli crate versus like Bradley crate, etc.
Yeah. So you know what's funny? You want to know why the reason the heli's like it is right now. Sorry, I kept scrolling my fucking screen. I hadn't pushed the talk. Is this plugin developer, in his infinite lack of wisdom, did not put any experience value in there for heli. Period. You don't get anything for killing the heli. So we've been trying to code it to be added. Actually, believe it or not, you should know this from testing. Half the crates weren't even in there at first.
Oh yeah, no, I remember that because we had to buff the XP for the tunnel dwellers because otherwise tunnels were completely XP free.
Yeah. Or I mean, even brown crates, they were not even part of the plugin. Like, the fuck, who's not looting a brown crate? So yeah, we had to add a bunch of stuff already. But again, with Nivix being out of commission right now, I had expected to be able to have heli kills awarding experience by then. So let me tell you straight up, we actually have a couple things that we expected to have done by now, but aren't done because Nivix is again out of commission. A is the heli awarding experience for the kill, first of all, and it doesn't, which is why the crate looting experience for heli is so weird right now because we had expected that to already be happening and it's not. Number two is having XP split amongst those who kill something. So the same way, the little thing that pops up in the chat and tells you, your team locked the Bradley or whatever, and you got the whatever. Same concept. We want to have it so if you and your team kill a Bradley, then you and your team are going to split the XP for that Bradley kill. Same with the heli, and believe it or not, the same is going to be happening with the raids. It's just not implemented yet. To where if you complete a nightmare raid with a couple friends, you guys are going to split that experience instead of the one person it was locked to getting all the experience.
Cool. Well, again, those are my items. The last item I have, and I say this and don't kill me, is add charcoal to /S.
Oh, that's purposely not in there and not going to be in there.
Okay, that was the last player feedback item, and I was like, I'm going to drop that, and then I'm out.
There's a really good reason it's not in there. The very first time as an admin that you have to go try to destroy 700 campfires and small furnaces and oil refineries because every player within a 3 grid radius cannot even log into the game anymore is the last time you want to give people an option to sell charcoal.
Fair point.
Yep.
All right, thanks, guys. I'm sorry for taking up the time, but I'll turn it on over to whoever's next.
Man. Absolutely great stuff.
Next up, we have Poo Water.
Oh, God. All right, meeting's over.
I already clicked the button. I'm sorry.
Shit.
Can talk. Can everyone hear me?
Oh, we hear you, Big Daddy. We hear you.
Whoa.
Wait. For anyone that doesn't know, by the way, I know Poo Water really trolls a lot of you and messes with you guys. This is
exclusively.
This is the coolest dude ever. Like, he's been playing on our server, what, like 3 fucking years now?
I don't fucking know.
It's been a long. Me and Poo Water met by fighting each other. Like, oh my God, we were at each other's throats, dude. I literally
joined this server because we had shut down our RP server, and I was looking for PvE servers because we were talking about doing a PvE server, like a medieval themed one, and I was going to all these different PvE servers and checking them out, and Zombieland was literally like the only one that had any decency to it and wasn't pay to win. And then T-Bird said something. I got cranky in my pants and decided to just bust out. Like I said, rage quitters are weak-willed.
Dude,
I'm fucking weak-willed. Like
he
that's
was
the
cussing
truth.
me out, dude. He said, "Your fucking server's gonna fail, you piece of shit."
I didn't say that.
You did. You was like, "Good luck with your server. It's gonna fucking fail."
That's not what I fucking
You
said.
fucking did. Anyway, whatever. The point
No,
being,
I said no. You know
I
what?
love this dude
I'm
so
gonna
much.
pull that shit up now
So-
because now
so-
I'm like, fuck this.
So for anyone that doesn't know him, if he ever is teasing you or messing with you, just understand he is fucking hilarious, and I promise you.
Honestly, if you get pissed at me saying something, I'm a 35-year-old man named Poo Water. Like,
I'm fucking crying.
how serious can you take me?
Oh, I'm fucking crying right now. Anyway, my point was, Pooh Water's an awesome person. So if you guys ever have an issue with him, I promise you it's not personal. He is the coolest dude you're ever going to meet on these servers. Anyway,
might be
get on
personal.
with your suggestion. We're boring these people. Let's go.
Yeah, my bad. So what do you call it? So after Melgrath gave all his stuff, this kind of seems bullshitty. I'm not prepared with any stats or any real good thought other
Did you
than
do yours in crayon?
yeah, with pictures. So
Nice.
the only thing I had to say was from the medical tree, and I kind of told you already, was that the healing over time is quite possibly the coolest fucking thing, especially for someone like me who gets hurt a lot because I'm stupid, especially from fall damage, which can also be mitigated in that tree. It is awesome for me in my playstyle, which is playing poorly and recklessly. However, I think that I'm not supposed to be able to hop on top of the Concord City roofs and naked fight the NPCs, just tanking shots and hoping they miss.
No, that's
Because
getting
that's what
nerfed.
I did.
Yeah, it's absolutely getting nerfed. There's no question about it. So anyone who has the passive regen, we got to nerf it a little bit because it's actually making you invincible, and it's not meant to be that way. The only reason it's even that high, believe it or not, it's actually like a quarter of what it was default with the plugin. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I would say half that even.
Yeah, the only reason it's even as high as it is because I was like, damn, if I make it any lower, nobody's even going to pick it, not realizing how powerful it is. But now that you guys have gotten to play with it a little bit and see, even lowering it a little bit, it's still going to be powerful. And I just didn't want that initial shock when someone saw the number, before picking the skill and goes, oh, that's not worth that. And then they skip it and not realize it's actually really good anyway.
No, it's a really cool skill. Like I really like the idea that it's there. And the whole medical tree itself, like the resisting fire damage and fall damage is cool. I think that, like, I don't know if it was on purpose or was well thought out, but I think having fire damage first and also radiation and then kind of onto bigger and better things makes sense for early game, since I don't know, I seem to take a lot of fire damage in the beginning.
Yeah, we actually put a shit ton of thought into what tier to place each skill into.
Oh no, yeah, I think they're honestly great. I think the no cold damage is also awesome, but like I said, I'm testing this wipe, and I'll formulate my full opinion on the fall damage and how much it mitigates and stuff. My goal is to fly a heli super high and just drop and see if I die. And if I die, then everything's cool. If I don't die, then maybe this needs to be nerfed.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we can facilitate that and just drop you from like 200 meters.
All right, do it.
Yeah, we can do that.
So
okay, cool. Yeah, the passive regen is definitely going to get a little bit of a nerf. But honestly, I love the medical tree. I'd love people's feedback on all that shit because I really like that tree.
So I currently have 35 fall damage reduction. Feel free to drop me anytime. I'm done, by the way.
Nice. All right, we're going to have a splatter of poo on the ground. All right, who's next? By the way, part of something I want to discuss tonight with all of you is like maybe ideas to somehow boost some of the trees that nobody's picking. Like, again, we got to stay within the guidelines of what I told you for new skills because we just can't reprogram this plugin at this time, which we will be doing, but we can't do right now anymore. But we got to figure out. There's a lot of skills people just aren't picking. Who's next?
Next up, we have Sakova.
Oh, I'm out. See y'all later.
All right. All right. I apologize if that's happening, but I do want to start out saying thank you so much for analyzing the XP rates and that they are a little lower than you saw it and making changes to improve them. That's awesome. The only thing I actually came in here to say is that with the recent changes to experts making them a little bit harder to farm, which I totally agree with 100%, it kind of reduces the amount of paper in the economy since that's like the biggest way people normally would get mass amounts of paper, making it really hard to do a normal respec within one wipe. So like my only suggestion would be maybe respec becomes, I don't know, a different material, like whether it be, I don't know, scrap or maybe even RP. Get rid of RP from the economy because like you said, you're always for taking away those permanent things. And I just thought it'd be cool if we could respec just a touch more because it seems really out of reach for almost anybody if you're even leveled a little bit, and especially if you don't have veteran where you get the discount on respec. Just seems really, really out of reach to try and grind that much paper, especially with reduced experts now.
So the initial goal was to not allow any respec at all.
Working
Admins
as
convi-
intended.
Yeah, working as intended, exactly. Admins convinced me to at least allow some kind of respec, which I did. Decided it was going to be pretty damn expensive because, again, the original goal was you never get to respec. And then some even softer admins convinced me to allow a free respec once per force wipe, just because, what if players are testing stuff out and they didn't like what they picked type stuff. Originally, that idea was only going to be for the first month of this plugin, just to let you guys play around with it. And then they convinced me to make that a permanent thing too. So that's about all the caving I'm going to do on that. I originally did not want any respec possible, period.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense then. Yeah, that's
And
all I had.
the original rationale is because it can be abused way too much and you can put way less thought into it if you know that you can just wipe it and try again.
Totally agree.
You can spend the entire first, wipe or two farming, all nodes, all tree, all scrap, all blueprints, all this, and then you can switch it up and spend the next, wipe doing all PvP and all medical skills and stuff. It's too exploitable. Again, it's still provided and you still get a free one once a month. But just the fact that it's so overpowered that, someone with 100 and something skill points can just boom, switch it all to something else for the next wipe. Something I don't believe in. I think it's an unfair advantage and it's too exploitable. And again, the fact that it can be done with paper and it can be done once a month for free is about as much caving as I plan on doing on that. And respec for RP would never be an option, period, because again, there's people out there with millions of RP, and then there's people out there who will never can afford shit with RP, and that gives a huge advantage to those players.
Yeah, that makes sense, 100%. Because yeah, with the bleach, I mean, I was able to respec like 10 times, and that's insane. Like every activity I did, I just respected to make it even more overpowered. It was nuts. So yeah, I totally agree with that, 100%. Thanks for talking.
Yep.
And last person in queue right now is Enrique.
Enrique, you
And
spent a
all
whole
our
month testing.
testers.
You ain't got nothing else, man. You spent all that time testing. Change around the skinny tree and pouch and how it costs 46 points to max. It's painted, dude, not gonna lie. So either up the slots per skill, point spent, or change the location of that in the tree also. So first of all, addressing the first part of the pouch, that pouch is supposed to be hard to get. It's a 42 slot backpack in addition to your other 42 slot backpack that does not drop on death. It is, if I can make that a tier 4, I would make it a tier 4. That's supposed to be an almost impossible skill to make, and it's also at the bottom, of a lot less desirable skills on purpose, so that hey, if you want that, you're gonna have to pay for it. The other thing, also recommendation to make all tier 3 items from workbench normal craft speed. Are you trying to get me killed? Like, are you legit trying to get me killed? If that's the case, I just give you my home address. You can just come kill me yourself, dude. You trying to get me killed?
We literally have already pushed stuff that was in the craft time back out of the craft time.
I removed medical syringes out of there just because I got sick of hearing people bitch about that. Dude, yeah, you're trying to get me killed. Like, don't get me wrong. I'd love to do that. Holy shit, I would love to do that. But I'm not trying to die tonight. Like, I got to pay off this damn air conditioner bill now. But I mean, again, not to make you sound dumb or nothing. I actually like the suggestion. But dude, I would literally be lit on fire and dragged through the fucking streets if I did that shit. So, yeah. I know my limits. I don't need death threats. Yeah, there's plenty of time, Dot. This is what I'm doing tonight, man. I set aside tonight for discussing this plugin. So, anybody else got anything? Or blah blah blah. Or you type it in chat and we'll just talk back. Or could you tell us some of the buffs? What are you talking about? What buffs? I haven't done them yet. I have to see the end of the force wipe, see what the numbers are, and I'm gonna adjust the I can't adjust the experience ladder in the middle of a wipe anyway. It would break the plugin. So ask me how I know this. We tried it. So yeah, you guys are gonna have to finish off the force wipe. Just how it is. Dude, Rum, please stop. Nobody wants to wander into a PvP bubble and get sniped from a tower by somebody waiting and camping. And this is not what we're here for. This is a skills meeting, not a come let me camp you and farm you meeting. All right, anybody else? Anything? Anybody? Admins, players? In text, in chat? That's it? That was the easiest skills meeting. You guys don't have anything else? Harvest tree.
Just a reminder, we do have applications open. If you've been a longtime player of ours and would like to submit an application to be an admin, we are looking for those who are interested.
No, Integra, you're not corrupting those numbers. Those are actually the numbers I need because it's I don't it's just I don't know. I don't understand how it's lower than 2 whole months. I guess because of the spread of players. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's lower now because with 2,000 players, there's a
I think I know
lot.
what it is.
There's a lot of players at the bottom end of that spectrum dragging that number down when there's 2,000 players versus we only had, like 30 players total, and there were no numbers at the bottom of the spectrum because everybody was fucking playing. What were you going to say, Crow?
How many unique do we have to actual online current playing? That would be the difference probably that's dragging the number down. The people that come on or on have like level 6 and then that's all they play.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is with 2,000 players, how many of them are actually playing? So that, that's my point is right now I guarantee you 50% of that 2,000 are at the very, very bottom, just play a little bit and that was all I did and moved on. And that's dragging the number way down. Whereas during testing, every single tester was playing for the entire wipe. Granted, some of them didn't, like near the end of the force wipe, some of them died down, but they were still playing. So I think that's what's killing the numbers and screwing this all up. Which really sucks because then when I buff it, all the real players who are playing are going to get a huge buff, and that's going to throw everything way off. But
I have to walk my dog real quick. I'll be right back.
Could you get it? No, I don't. Well, it wasn't a single wipe; it was a whole force wipe, and then we had another force wipe before that where we tested, and for the second one, we just brought in more people. It was definitely not a single wipe. We tested for a total of 60 days.
Mic check.
Yeah, I hear you.
Hey, there we go. Just as a reminder, we do have open applications if you are interested in becoming a member of the admin team.
Oh, we got that the first time.
Oh, okay. I posted a link to the announcement in the meeting channel.
Perfect. Yeah. So that's exactly why the numbers are so low, I'm sure. But what can we do about it, All right. Well, I guess if nobody else has any suggestions or feedback or anything, so this is a lot easier than I thought. We don't have to change too much at all.
I think we still have one person looking to talk.
Okay, bring them on. Bring them on. By the way, if you guys notice, I posted a document. I guess I'll post it again. Everybody's typing so much. This is what I discussed at the beginning of the meeting. These are the things that are currently available to be used to make new skills. This is it right here. Ready?
Hi. This is a quick question. So, Pouch, I've noticed that in PvP hards, I haven't tested it in player PvPs. It like whatever you put in the pouch, it doesn't drop. Is that intentional or is it a bug? This works on Purge Day though.
Yeah, so it's kind of both. And let me explain. So I'll explain it by telling you about backpacks. So when backpacks, when everything was first going down and raid bases was just a new thing, And so was PvP Day. Backpacks either have a true or a false in the config to dropping on death, period, true or false. I got Nivix to code a console command where an admin could issue a command remotely to turn that on or off for backpacks dropping or not. And when PvP Day activates, I could then let my scripts automatically issue that command to make backpacks start dropping on death. And if you guys ever notice during Power Hour, your backpacks don't drop on death anymore. That's because when I start Power Hour, that's part of my Power Hour script, is to revert backpacks back to not dropping on death. Again, all of that via the console command that I had Nivix code into the backpack plugin for me so that I could do that remotely instead of having to reconfigure the backpacks every single time. Now, then raid bases came around and PvP raid bases came around, and I asked Nivix to code in the ability in each type of raid-based profile, easy, medium, hard, whatever, the ability to make backpacks drop on death, true or false. So obviously the reason I wanted that is so that for the PvP tier basis, I could set that to true. So when you enter a PvP bubble, your backpack will now start dropping on death. And he coded that in for me too. Yes, we paid him for that, but he did it. He did all that for me, and that's how backpacks work. The reason I mentioned all that to you, trying to do exactly the same thing with pouches across the board, but Nivix is under the weather. So I did manage to already pay him to code in the console command side of that. Remember the first thing I told you, to where I can issue a command to make pouches start dropping on death. That's already included in the PvP scripts, and again with the Power Hour scripts to turn it back to normal. And then he fell under the weather and all the shit that's happening right now in real life, and has not got around to the part where when you enter a PvP bubble, it does the same thing. So that has not happened yet. It is on the table though.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Epics, your participation award for this meeting is that you guys got me here on a Tuesday night doing all this, and I haven't even had dinner yet. That's your reward. Adopted's here. Look at that. You remember this place, Adopted? No, screw you, Adopted. I ain't talking to you right now, man. Mr. Disappearing Act. See, but that, okay, so what Rosada just said in chat right there is exactly what I'm talking about. One of the first things I said in this entire meeting and touched on multiple times was, I'm going to be buffing how fast you guys level dramatically across the board. Didn't mention that, but said Medtree nerf, pouch not getting cheaper, respec not getting cheaper. Like, you see what I'm saying? That's exactly my point right there. Perfect example. Didn't mention the fact that I'm going to make it almost triple leveling speed. Just mentioned that, he might have to lower down the passive regen rate so that you're not invincible. But instead of saying that, you say the entire med tree is getting nerfed, which is not true. I just said I would have to lower down the passive regen so you're not invincible. You see what I'm saying? That's an example of what I'm talking about. Ignore all the good and make the bad sound worse than it is. Okay, well, on that note, I guess the meeting's over then. I'm not going to put up with that kind of shit right now. So thanks for coming to the meeting. If anybody has any other feedback, just let me know a different way. I will see y'all later.